What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to the Husker Gutter Call-In Show live. And we got some Husker volleyball going on right now. And, of course, guess who's winning, Brian?
Of course, Nebraska.
Surprise,
I
surprise.
think they have, I may be mistaken, but they may be on a 6-set straight sweep streak. 6 sweeps in a row, basically. That was a terrible way to phrase it, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's been a pretty incredible run, what they've been doing so far. And not much has changed. So beating Northwestern, hopefully setting the tone for the football team, what we're going to do tomorrow morning.
100%.
Unfortunately, that's a 9 a.m. kick in Arizona. I can't stand morning games in Arizona.
I was just about to say, I would hate these 11 a.m. kicks if I were you.
It's 9 a.m., bro.
That's rough, even for me at 11, just because I'm a guy that likes to sleep in.
So I kind of like the way it has been the last couple weeks because I can get up and I go to the gym and get that out of the way, but not in the 9 a.m. kicks. Nope, not happening. Not happening. What's going on, Ron T? Appreciate you hopping in here. First comment, first like, jumping in here. We got Bone Leg Cornfed already calling in. 1 sec, Bone Leg. We'll get you in here as soon as your stuff's connected.
Ron T
Gentlemen,
change his profile picture?
No, I think it's the same. I think it's still the Grambling. Yeah.
Okay.
He might have had a different one. I don't know. I think so. Mike, what's going on, man? Appreciate you hopping in here. Pit Snipe, what's going on? And let's go ahead and bring Mr. Boneled in here and let's get prepped up for Northwestern tomorrow. How's it going, man?
Not bad. I hate to digress, but
Uh-oh.
sometimes you have to digress to go forward, you know. I rewatched the Minnesota game, and I noticed like there was a few times where they had three people, blitzing at us, and we had like at least three or four of our guys not blocking.
Mhm.
And all Dylan would have had to have done was just step to his left, where there was a pocket,
Yep.
and complete a throw. Okay, but the main problem is their footwork. Okay, and I've said that before. It's not just the footwork with driving, but they've also got to use the footwork like when the other the other ones are forcing you to try to do choppy. Well, plant your feet, and you control it. Don't keep your feet choppy, because if you do that, then all the leverage is theirs on the other side, you know.
Yep.
And that's why footwork is just as important, and as far as us losing the way we did, well, I mean, that happens. I just hope that we're able to wake up, and say, hey, I'm tired of feeling this way, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
I'm 100% in agreement with you on that last part, especially tired of feeling this way, tired of everybody in that building should be pissed off about the way this week has gone. Not only in the sense of what they've had to deal with after the loss, but deal with the conversation from shows like us too, deal with that and want to shut people like us up, and kind of what you talked about with the footwork. Yeah, I mean, it's really not that difficult right now to get a lot of pressure on us. I mean, when you're bringing 3 men and we're still having missed assignments and you can attack our leverage as easy as it's been, we're having a hard time keeping in front of, the simplest of pass rushes sometimes. Yeah. And to your point about Dylan finding a crease in the pocket, yeah, very much so. It's it's got to be identified earlier. There are times on the film where I feel like he makes an incredible play, but there are times where, I talk about this a ton because I think it's very important, and because CJ Stroud is struggling with this right now with a terrible offensive line too. But he talked about in season 1, getting to a spot, finding that crease early. And if you don't find that crease to be able to step up and move out, roll out to the pocket, you got to get there. You got to rotate like a jump shooter, almost like a spot up shooter. You got to rotate out to that spot before the defender can get out there. So when that pocket's coming and those edges are coming around and you find an opportunity to step up and go right, you need to take that as soon as that opportunity is there, not drop back in the pocket and kind of try to run around. I think that's the problem we're running into. Instead of stepping up and through and finding those creases early on in the play, it's like we're expecting to be able to back up and the play is going to be there. We're going to be able to find it falling away, or we're going to be able to find it throwing to our right, throwing to our left, instead of just saying, no, I need to take this, what this play is going to break down as, step up, rotate to that spot before the defender can get there. And that way I can get to my guy before, I have a defender at my ankles, wrapping me up, or before I'm, by the time you break out of that tackle, then you have two more defenders on you because we can't hold our blocks, so even more so, if we could hold our blocks, it would be one thing for him to kind of be able to scramble out and around and be able to get around there, but there's no time for that right now. So
yeah, I agree with that, because there was times I saw him roll out right straight in to the missed tackle, and it's like, really? So whose fault is that? Well, that would be his. I mean, he should know, he should be able to see where the pocket is,
mhm.
And be able to step, at least into it, and not into the pressure. I mean, there was a play where one of the guys that wasn't blocking was like the running back, and I
Mhm.
think the running back could have went out for like a slant pass to the right, and then maybe gotten yards after contact and got a first down, or yards after catch, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, but he wasn't blocking anybody. So what was his purpose, on that
Well,
play?
that was probably because what they were running a lot of simulated pressures. Minnesota was running a lot of simulated pressure. What a simulated pressure is they make you think they're bringing a lot of people, and so you max protect, and so you block that running back, and you block everybody that you have the capability of blocking, and then all of a sudden they don't bring that pressure, and so now you have a bunch of blockers, and they have a bunch of people dropping back into pass coverage, and you have a bunch of blockers for no reason. And that's what Minnesota was doing well, is they were running, not only were they running pressures, they were making the simulated pressures look exactly like the pressures they were running. And so that way, okay, we get up to the line and be like, okay, all right, they're bringing him. Max protect. Okay, then we're blocking the running back. And now we lose a couple of our routes that would normally be on the field. And then they're dropping 6, 7, and 7 into coverage. And now we have no routes open on the field. Not only that, we have guys blocking nobody. And we're still, the guys that are on blocks aren't holding their blocks. And that's a recipe for disaster. And that's part of the problem that is going to be going forward is, we have what we have talent wise. You got to find a way to make this offense just fit what we have. And because the line development is not going to improve over the course of the season. They're not going to just develop over the course of the season. We're going to have to find ways to just be able to get the ball out of his hands quicker. Simple, just first read and go. And we got to be able to scheme up those throws to be open.
Well, that's true, but the footwork, I think, will solve most, if not, more than most of the
Easier
problem.
said than done.
Because, well,
Easier
yeah,
said than done.
yeah, I
They're
know.
trying to teach footwork,
years
and if
to
they're
get
not
good
doing
footwork.
it, it's not
Yeah.
something that could just be picked up over a week of practice, because this is something that should have already been developed into them.
Yeah. Yes. It should have, which I don't understand, but I'm not a coach, by no means. So I mean, well, I'm I believe we'll win this week. If we got to come out though like we won it,
Mhm.
I mean, we can't just come out like we're going to downplay to the opponent.
Yeah. Northwestern's they're playing too well right now for that.
They're
Yeah.
5-2, the top
Yeah.
25 defense.
They're playing too well
Yeah.
for that right now. Yep.
Well, that's good. That's good, and hopefully that brings plays us up. But we're favored by 7 this time, and we were favored by 10 last week.
Mhm.
And I don't really think those point spreads really mean that much. I just think it's Vegas trying to cover their butt is what I really think. But if you would have
Vegas
took
makes
Minnesota, if you would have took Minnesota last week, you would have made a killing. I mean, that's
Mhm.
Yep. And what what are you thinking we win by?
Well, I'm going to do what you guys do sometimes. It depends upon which team shows up. If the
Mhm.
pissed off team shows up, like 45 to 17. But if the regular team shows up, then it's going to be a lot closer, probably like 24-17.
Or
Okay.
worst case, you get last week's team.
Yeah. And if you get last week's team, you ain't going to win.
Good luck.
There's no way, because, if Northwestern can, basically beat Penn State, who I thought, at the time was pretty good, and I guess maybe I was wrong, but, maybe there's a lot of, how do I want to say it? The parity isn't as bad anymore. I mean, a lot of the teams are, how do I want to say it? Are fit into their schemes to make them successful. The players are. Look at PJ Fleck. He's got players that fit his scheme, and how well does it work? Well, works pretty good, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep.
Iowa's an example. I
Mhm.
mean,
Perfect
they may not
example.
have they may not have all the 4 and 5-star recruits, but they got players that fit their scheme.
100%. 100%. Northwestern's very similar. They're going to turn this into a rock fight. That's for sure. And so it's going to be a grind them out game. And Nebraska's got to come out early and set their tone and do what they do well and just get running the ball. I mean, Northwestern's not going to be very good. Northwestern's not going to be very good at defending the run. But
well, neither are we, but
yeah. I mean, Northwestern isn't. They can run the ball too. Yeah. So
And they're not going to stop if they don't have early success either.
Yes. And because it's not really a team that's going to, Northwestern's not really going to come out and give you a lot of explosive plays through the air. But yeah, they're not going to come out and beat themselves. So we got to come out and just establish some kind of identity. And it's crazy because, like, the identity of this team should be known by now. And we're this far into the season. It still seems like, and it should have been known last season, coming into this season. Like, we were like, run the ball last season. This season, this has to be the game where we just finally make that commitment to running the football and understand all this stuff that we've been trying to do is not working. Get out, run the football, get these edge rushers on their heels a little bit, get that ball running up the middle. It's the only way to keep them at bay. Otherwise, they're going to keep pinning their ears back. I mean, we just can't block them. So if we want to be a passing team, we can't not be a passing team because we don't have the line to do it right now.
well, that's true. But see, my question is, okay, if you're behind, I don't understand why you have to pass. I think Holgerson
No.
abandoned the run too soon.
Yep.
Way too soon. And it's like, really? So you're making yourself one-dimensional rather than having Minnesota make you one-dimensional, because they gave up on the run. What was it? The first
we gave up on the run the week before Minnesota because we didn't even come out running the ball against Minnesota. We came out throwing the ball. Yeah,
that's right. Correct.
Yeah. And
I don't get it, but
I'll add to, not only did they give up on running the ball against Minnesota, it was the most predictable running game to exist. Okay, on 16 first down attempts, Nebraska ran the ball 13 times. On second and third down, they ran it 3 times for the entirety of the game. So that, I feel like, as a defensive coordinator from Minnesota, you pick up on the game trend, right? And you adjust accordingly. On first down, we're running it based on how we were playing. And, on second and third, we're throwing. Statistically speaking, we were like 98% likely to throw on second and third down. So they were just so predictable in that aspect.
And everybody's watching the film. Like, the one way, okay, Northwestern's watching the film from last week. Switch it up. Because Northwestern's going to come out and run the ball. They're going to shorten the game. So if we don't come out and score with opportunities, we may not get a ton, depending on how they come out and run the football. Because our passing defense is our strength. Their run offense is their strength. So we're going to have to come out with a commitment to stopping the run game. So that way Northwestern isn't able to grind out drives like Minnesota was, and we're able to get off the field and just not let them establish their strength.
Well, I'm going to ask you one more thing, and then I'll let you answer it, and then I'll finish watching the show.
Yep.
How do you think special teams will play into this game?
I think special teams has been nothing but good this year. So
Into this
One of the
game?
top- yeah.
Yeah.
I think special teams might. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's going outside the box because as many games as special teams has been the differences, but I think that will be the difference in this game. And like I said, that's not really saying much because that's the special teams directly won us 2 games this year. So it's not preposterous to say that special teams is going to be the difference in this game. We got one of the strongest special teams units right now. And yeah, that is, sometimes you got an offensive team, sometimes you got a defensive teams. We got a special teams. That's what we got.
Which
So
ironically,
live and die by them.
is how Iowa operates.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
they always have a pretty good defense, but
Yeah, they don't really beat themselves either. But yeah, so
yeah, that's
but yeah, anything else, man?
No, I'm out, and then I'll listen to the show.
All righty. Appreciate you, my
thank
man.
you.
All right, we got Mike in the back, but I need him to connect his mic so I can pull him in here because it says he needs to oh, there we go. Hey, Mike, what's going on, brother?
Gentlemen, how we doing?
We're doing fantastic.
Good. How are you, sir?
man.
Long time no see. Been working and been busy and stuff, so I apologize
life
for.
happens.
So, thinking about this whole Minnesota game a little bit,
Mhm.
and maybe I'm completely wrong. That's fine. I've been wrong before in my life. But isn't part of the air raid to take pressure off of the offensive line and not have to pass block so long with short dink and dunk passes?
Yep.
Why are we
Sounds
not?
good.
Why are we not doing any of that?
It's a great question.
None whatsoever.
$1 million
I was
question.
thinking about this today, actually.
Like,
Remember when Holgerson first came in?
Yeah.
USC quick passing game, Iowa quick passing game.
I mean, we came out and
Cincinnati
took a shot like early in the USC game, but after that, we were like, quick. And that's exactly what we thought we were going to see this year.
Yeah, we saw it with USC. We saw it with Iowa. We saw it with Wisconsin. We saw it with Boston College. We saw it starting the year with Cincinnati. Granted, that was how they played us more than anything. But it feels like that, what you're talking about, Mike, has completely gone away after week 1.
Yep.
Right. And what did Minnesota beat us with? Slants, screens,
Mhm.
And we've got Barney. We've got Dane Key. We've got all sorts of receivers that can do these.
Yep.
But it seems like we're more set on, let's let a play develop 70 yards downfield before we throw the ball to anybody.
Which was the exact issue that we had with Satterfield.
Mhm.
The same
Correct.
exact issue we had was that we were running 3 routes 30 yards down the field, and Dylan had nobody to go to. And that, there's more opportunities for throws now, but still, we have still too long because our offensive line has gotten almost regressed. I feel like those you got to just be able to have those quick hitting routes. There's just no way around it. Again, this offensive line is not going to develop. They're not going to get better over the course of the season. You have to just start playing to your strengths and get the ball out of your hands faster. And I don't know why. Because you heard Holgerson say it this past week, but he was like, yeah, we thought we could push the ball down the field. And again, I don't understand where we got that confidence from because it's not something we've been able to do this year successfully at all. So I don't understand where you got that confidence.
And then my other big concern is any coach I've ever been around in my very few sports that I've ever played, mostly coaches are full of confidence. Hey, we have the right game plan. We can beat whoever we step on the field, court, whatever it is with. Why would any coach ever think that, we don't know what to expect, with Minnesota or whoever, why? That just gives the team bad vibes. It's, it's like you shouldn't have to have the head coach basically yelling at assistants to, pull their head out and figure things out. Yeah. Like you just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It baffles me.
I think it baffled us all this week to hear that type of stuff because, I mean, contrary to what anybody says, that all starts, at the top with the rule. When you look to a team like Minnesota, We're not talking about their assistants having them ready for the game. We're talking about PJ Fleck having them ready for the game, you know? So Matt Rule has to take that same ownership. Like, he did not have those guys ready for the game. He didn't have, clearly his assistant coaches ready for that game, because it obviously reactionary what we heard this week at the press conference, and was kind of, disheartening to hear, kind of some of the confusion. And that's kind of why we had the frustration that we had in Tuesday's show, because it's like, how are we getting answers like this right now? And I think to add insult to injury, it's coming off of all the Penn State stuff, with all of that. And so because a lot of us didn't want to sit here and think like, oh yeah, Rule's distracted. I would have told you he's not distracted and all that, but like, what was he focused on? And that's my thing, is like, what was he focused on in that case? Why are your assistants walking around there kind of tooting their own horn and pushing their own narrative? Why isn't we've talked about from day one when Matt Rule came on here, it's been about the cohesiveness of the communication and making sure that the communication, even the same reason why Holgerson, when he came on, kept a lot of the verbiage and terminology the same with the offense, because he wanted that consistency. When Butler was hired as the defensive coordinator, he kept a lot of that consistency of the verbiage and terminology. What happened to that? Where was the ball dropped? Because if communication has been the most important thing, and clearly this week or last week leading up to Minnesota, that was gone. Well, where was the ball dropped? Somebody wasn't doing something that was normally being done week after week. And it showed on the field. And that just goes to show just how committed you have to be every single week to doing things the right way, and doing things, and as Matt Rule preaches this, doing things the right way, doing things consistently. Last week, that didn't happen. I don't care what anybody says. That did not happen on the practice field. That did not happen in the building, because he basically came out and admitted as such. And it's head scratching. It really is, because a guy who's so dead set on communication, verbiage being the same, everything being the same, how do you have people in the building still not on the same page? I don't understand that. I don't know if that's because maybe he brought on some guys that aren't matching up to but if that's the case, then he needs to come out and make those changes ASAP.
Yeah. Here's my other thing. No, I'm not usually one to call out assistant coaches, coaches in general. But what on earth, or who on earth, has our O-line coach actually developed? Because I can't name a single person off the top of my head.
I will give you.
I'll be flat out honest. I really don't think that our offensive line could hold Frosty the Snowman out of the backfield on a 100-degree day right now. I really don't.
I don't disagree.
Like it's
I will vouch for Justin Evans, though. I think he has gotten better.
Yeah.
That's quite literally the only one we can think of.
Yeah, but he still makes bonehead mistakes. Like, you can't.
But he's also in a different position.
True.
Yeah.
True.
But yes, he should be. Yeah, we still should be way ahead of where we are even with him.
Yeah, exactly. Lastly, I will be at the game tomorrow. Nebraska needs to do everything they can to come out, get a lead early, and keep the lead. I don't care if we have to come out and throw a Hail Mary the first play of the game. We got to come out, get the lead, and maintain it, because Northwestern's just going to keep pounding the rock at you until they either don't score any points and lose the game, or until they have success and wear you down.
Yeah, we got to make sure that, like, for once, we come out and set the tone. In one of these Big Ten games, we come out, we take control of the game. Because I don't care what anybody says, Northwestern, yes, while they're very good, there's not enough talent on that team that they should be able to outplay this team. There's not. I'm sorry. I don't think anybody's arguing that Northwestern's the more talented team. It's just, can this team,
smarter team.
Yeah, they're definitely smart. That's for sure. Smarter than me. But I think that the key to this game is going to be scoring when you get in the 20s, because Northwestern's not very good at finishing drives, and we haven't been the best at finishing drives. And we can't just keep getting down the field and conceding, just taking. But we got to get down the field and we got to punch touchdowns in. And it starts this week because this season just gets harder from here going forward. So this is a game that, like, it's not enough for us to just win this game. I don't feel like. I think we got to come out and really like control this game to have confidence for the second half of the season. Not saying we will, but to have any confidence in what's going to happen in the back half of the season, we have to come out. We have to be able to show that we can control a team like Northwestern. Otherwise, it could be a rough slate of games to close out the year.
I agree 100%, Justin. Yep. By the way, your doggo there needs a Husker jersey.
So, he would kill me if I put anything on him.
But yeah, like, we need to, like you said, come out and make a statement in this game, because next week we're playing a team that just dang near beat Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's not really a slouch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're going to pass it all over. They have a running quarterback. Like, this has to be a statement game. And if we want to get bowl eligible, this is probably our best chance to do it right here.
And it's an opportunity to go out there and do something on offense against a really good defense. Like, we could actually prove that we can move the ball against a really good defense, a
Absolutely.
top 25 unit. And if we can come out and get some confidence in our offense to move the ball against a team like Northwestern, who is probably one of the better defensive teams we're going to play this year, then we could take that confidence going in the season. Like, we weren't able to grab the confidence out of the Maryland game that we needed. This one, we have no choice, because, Maryland, we could look, okay, Minnesota, Northwestern coming up, but the back half of the schedule we have to get a lot of confidence in ourselves, and we have to see something on film that works. So that way we know, okay, next week, this is what we need to do, so they got to put something out there that really kind of shields this lack of an offensive line that we have, and really just Dylan's just we got to get the ball out of his hands quickly, quick hitting routes, RPOs, quick handoff, zone read. Like, we just got to move the pocket if we need to. We just got to do stuff different. And Holgorsen seemed like he was going to go. It sounded like he might go a little bit more back to that quick passing game. So we'll see. Hopefully that's the case, because he's like, I got confidence to push the ball down the field. Hopefully that means this week we're going completely back away from that. I don't want to see this ball pushed down the field until we have a 2-score lead. Unless it's open.
I'll add to, like, Mike, you mentioned kind of coming on, getting off to a quick start. This is a game where if you can get up 2 scores early, and that changes everything for Northwestern, because they run the ball at like a 65% rate. They run it like 40 times a game on like 55, 60 snaps a game.
And they can't throw deep. They cannot throw. They don't have an explosive passing game.
And their quarterback has a weak arm. So, like, he's not a guy that is really going to stretch the field at all with his arm. And in fact, I was looking through his like completions on deep balls on the left side and the right side, basically everything outside the middle. He's like less than 10% completion rate. Down the middle, he's 3 for 3 on the year. So very small sample size. He's a dink and dunk quarterback just because he doesn't have a great arm strength. And they got one guy. I think it's number 17. I might be mistaken
19?
on this number.
I think it's 19.
But he's got I think it's 36 catches on the year, and the next closest has like 15.
Mm-hmm.
They have one guy to throw to. Like, you could literally bracket him half the game and you'd be fine.
You know what that means? Got to make tackles. Okay? Because if they're going to be throwing underneath, we got to rally the football and make tackles. That's something we didn't do last week. Minnesota was the team that was not the good tackling team going into last week. Well, that flipped. So we got to make sure that we're rallying the football and we're making tackles. We can't have Northwestern making us miss. Otherwise,
and we got to cover the damn drag routes, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to drag route you to death, just like Minnesota did that second half.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, but here's our problem with stuff like that. We always seem to make those quarterbacks look like Heisman contenders in games. And like Justin said, if we can't tackle, the running game's just going to eat us alive, because there's been so many missed tackles last game that it's crazy. It's almost like we forgot how to tackle.
It's pulling my hair out last week, because I think the first like couple defensive drives, well, the first defensive drive was like, okay, we're rallying to the football. And then I don't know what happened after that. It was just like, as soon as we started missing some tackles, it's like everybody just threw all of their tackling technique out of the window and just started getting desperate, just throwing, like he said, just throwing themselves at their ankles. And we've been missing some tackles in other weeks, but I felt like what we kind of rail it, kind of dial it back in. But last week was bad. It was like when it rains, it pours, and just the tackling was getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And yeah, so this week, more than any, they need to show that, like, yeah, this is a pissed off team that's ready to respond and show that, like, they're different. Because I thought the Maryland game was a game to build momentum off of, and clearly they didn't take that opportunity. So now they have to give themselves another game to build momentum off of. So you cannot afford to lose this game.
I agree. Well, gentlemen, I got to jump off of here, but first one to 24 tomorrow wins it.
Appreciate you, my man. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, have a good one,
Mike. Did you? I forgot to ask you on Tuesday. Butler's comments about that long 70-yard run that Minnesota had. His comment was essentially to the effect of, that's a play that beat us against Michigan. Minnesota ran, everyone's running it. Maryland scored on it, and he admitted to essentially tucking his tails between his legs and changing his entire game plan, saying he was less aggressive and all that stuff. And I don't know how you can coach that way because of one play.
You can't. Yeah.
And what does that do for your defense?
Yeah, because you can't, if you let them control how you run your defense, you're not in control of your defense at all. Like, you have to have your game plan, and you have to have, if this, we go to this. If this, we go to this, right? You have to already have those things ready to go, game plans to switch to, you can't be that reactive to where, and if it's stuff that's you've seen on film before, well, then even more so. If this happens, then we're going to go to this. But you can't just all of a sudden play scared. You have to find a way to stick to what you do, which is Addison Williams is an aggressive DB coach. John Butler's a aggressive defensive coach. So you have to stick to your identity. What's our identity? What has been supposed to be our identity? Aggression and physicality this whole time. And what happened?
They say.
So if all we're doing is pushing aggressiveness and physicality, but then as soon as they want us to come out of that, we come out of that. Well, then, okay, other teams are going to go directly. Okay, so, hey, we don't want them to be physical because we know that's when they play at their best. So let's go ahead and do what these other teams have been doing to make them less physical. And then you get bullied like you did last week. Like, you have to stick no matter what. Whether you go out there and you lose that game with your identity. You lose that game doing what you do best, which is being aggressive and be physical. If that happens, and so be it. But don't completely just pull off and have people playing off the ball and not jamming people and not being physical and just be like, well, we switched up what we do. Well, I'm sorry, just go down swinging, don't go down back on the back foot, kind of bobbing and weaving, trying to survive. Go down swinging. If you do that, then so be it, because we've worked on being a physical team. So continue.
And if you do that, I bet you the reaction from us fans in general is probably completely different, because, and like the Ohio State game last year, it wasn't a game where you're like, man, I'm like, we lost, but we played really good. Like, but it made it feel less like, damn, we lost, because you played your asses off. You played as well as you possibly could, and you got beat by a better team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In Nebraska's case against Minnesota, you got beat by a worse team, and you got your asses kicked, and you didn't do anything that got you to where you were at number 25.
Exactly. Can you pop out? Come back in. I'm echoing a little bit. All right. Sorry, I'm echoing. So he's going to pop back in here in just a second. Yeah, you'll go ahead and call in. We got the link right there in the chat. And Brian, here's another thing too with that is, as soon as you start calling defense a little bit less aggressive, your defensive players stop playing as aggressive, which I think contributed to a lot of the missed tackles, because when Matt Rule was talking about it, he's talking about, we got guys coming across the middle and we're not slamming them, when they're coming across the middle. Well, the defense is taking the identity of what they're being called to, Okay, so if we're calling a defense that's off the ball, playing a little bit less aggressive, well, what our defenders aren't going to play as aggressive. Whereas if we're, Boston College, we called that game aggressive the entire time,
blitzing like crazy
the whole time. And what was the defense? They were physical. They were aggressive. Okay, let them go out there and just eat and do their thing. And if we die being physical, then so be it. If we get out physical to being physical, then so be it. But I don't want to get out there and look soft, against the team that we should beat. I don't want to go out there and be the last thing that you want to ever be as a team is soft on the football field.
Yeah.
Especially
and as a defense, you're playing finesse against power essentially last week. And you're getting that same freaking team this week, basically. Maybe a little less talented. So you got to come out and attack right away. Like from the jump, I want to see 4 down linemen, 3. I want to see like a traditional 4-3, stack the box. We're not going to let you beat us with the run.
Mm-hmm.
Which leads me to my next point is why do they continuously run this 3-3-5 when they don't have the size up front to handle it? I would rather have the size up front in a 4-3 just by having an extra body.
Mm-hmm.
Or even if you want to run 3-4, I mean, that's fine too, because you can use Dasan McCullough on the edge. You can use Javen Wright on. I mean, you could have your bigger 6'5", 6'6" linebackers on the edges, basically a 4 or 5 man front. But to me, this 3-3-5 with smaller linebackers and smaller defensive line is not working. You need to get beef up front, an extra body, and then you can go with V9, Javen Wright, and name another linebacker, and that gives you 7 in the box from the jump.
Yeah, and if that's the case, if you stack the box, and so be it. But at least like you're not going down against Northwestern. You cannot let Northwestern, knowing coming into this game, you cannot let Northwestern, knowing their run game is their strength, they cannot beat you with the run game. You have to sell out to stop the run, like you said. We just have to stack that box, and if they beat us over the top, so be it. So be it. Good for them because they schemed that up. They did something that they haven't been able to do all season. But if we come out and we play to their weakness and play off against a team that's been running the ball and hasn't been able to throw deep, and we lose that game, there's no justifying that. You got to come out. You got to just be aggressive, play downhill, and not let them. You got to make your tackles. And when you get penetration, we got to stop letting people break the first bit of penetration in the backfield. Every time we get somebody in the backfield, they're able to at least get back to the line of scrimmage or then break it for a few yards. Like whether it be pressure on the quarterback, whether it be, getting a running play strung out. Like if you get that play down in the backfield, all the hats need to be coming to that football to stop that thing. I'm sorry. Yeah. We gotta start getting some TFLs on this team because we're letting teams, what Minnesota didn't do well the entire season is they played 3rd and long the entire season. Teams put them at 2nd and 3rd and long, and they weren't able to get their run game going. What did we do? We missed tackles, and they were able to play what they wanted to do, 3rd and short, and what happened? Oh, they were able to pull Minnesota drives together. They were able to do what they haven't been able to do all season. 10-minute drive. They're able to do stuff like that because we let them get in those positions. I'm sorry, but y'all have to make sure that you break down and keep that guy in front of you. I don't care about no big hits, none of that. Break down, get that guy in front of you. Stop trying to do too much. Just make sure. I don't even care if you have him stop 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, you break down, he gets like 2 yards up. Just if we're trying to sell out and get him 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, we're missing a tackle. What does it matter anyways? Break down and just make sure that you get that tackle. Just keep that guy in front of you because I'm so sick. Like we saw it against which team was it where we were like on the sideline? They had that, was it 3rd or 4th down, and then we had like sacked on the sideline, and Dasan, I think it was, that missed the tackle, and then was that against Michigan State? Was that
against Michigan State? It was on their 9-minute drive.
Yes, there was like 3 plays where we had just one guy. All he needed to do was just break down and they had to go 7 yards. All you have to do is break down. Who cares if you stop them for a loss or whatever? It's like 3rd and 7. Just don't let them get the first down. But we're trying so hard to get them stopped behind the line of scrimmage that we're just not breaking down and making the tackle, and then they end up getting
seems like
the
it's
first
worse this year.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I feel like I remember Tony White's first season, actually, and we came out right out the gates tackling with physical dominant contact is what they call it. Rallying to the ball, getting multiple hats on the ball. And it seems like this year they're not rallying consistently. And the breakdowns or lack thereof is absolutely astonishing. Like how much extra yards we're giving them just because we don't want to do the breakdown. And to me, that big of a drop off between Tony White last year and John Butler this year, to me, that tells me it's not being coached. And if it is being coached the correct way, and they're allowing that behavior or that lack of fundamentals to continue to be a problem without getting it corrected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one of the things, so let me see here. I want to play this clip for you. I just thought of this, and I hope this is the right clip because I didn't have this one ready or anything like this. But this has to do with the Texans, and the Texans very much kind of fit along the lines with what is happening with Nebraska right now, I feel like. And so Derek Stingley, they asked him, last week what happened with him against Jackson Smith-Njigba, and they had him play off of the ball as opposed to pressing him. And let me share my screen here. Hope this is the right clip, but let's see if it is. Can you hear that?
I can't hear the question.
Hang on one second.
I mean, that's. I'm not gonna say it's hard, but other teams scout just like we do. They know what we're good at and what we're got to work on. So I mean, just know that going into the game, know what you got to be better at going into it.
All right, that's not the clip, but they were basically asking him, why aren't we? Because the Texans' defense is based on physicality, and Derek Stingley's one of those guys that likes to play physical, hands-on football, jam guys to the line. So they asked him the question, what's going on there? He's like, I'm just going by, what the defense is being called. And essentially what that tells me is he's not getting the freedom to play the way he wants to play. And this is kind of, I think, goes right in line with what I was saying earlier, where the players are going to follow the identity of the defense. The Texans defense is a physical defense. They have been one of the best defenses of football, even this year with the Texans being a losing record. But when you have a guy coming out talking about how, I'm just playing the way the defensive coordinator is calling the game, that just goes to show right there, a guy like Derek Stingley, who's a top 3 cornerback in the NFL, if the way the defensive coordinators calling the game affects a guy like his play, a guy who can go out there and cover anybody in the NFL and affects his play. Imagine what it's doing to these guys who need that guidance, who need that leadership, who need to be told, like, this is how we're doing. We need to play this physical style defense. That is why I think the only way this defense is successful is to call every single game the rest of the way aggressive. And like I said, if you go down swinging, you go down swinging. But that interview, and I got to find it, but it was a prime example, and I just thought of it. But it was a prime example of that, because then we were like, hold on, wait a minute. Like, he's kind of low key here calling out the defensive coordinator a little bit, So let me see.
I don't think any of the players are going to, at least the collegiate level would probably say something to that extent. But
let me see if this is it.
After seeing the tape in the Seattle game, what do you think went wrong against JSN?
We just gotta communicate.
Do you like? Seems like you like to press a little bit. We asked D'Amico about it. He said the game plan was to get hands on him and all that, but didn't seem like there was a lot of pressing. Is that something that you like to do?
I mean, I feel like any corner, um, you know, likes to be at the line. But I'll never do nothing outside of what the play call is. So
See,
if the play call tell me to be off, I'm gonna be off.
And that includes shadowing as well.
Includes everything. I can't go out there and do my own thing. So, and I've never done that. That's not who I am.
You can tell he's being very careful with his words, and he's like the swaying back and forth, the fidgeting with his beard.
Yep.
He's just trying to not
the
say
smile.
too much, but saying a lot. Yeah.
He's like, I'm just going out there and doing what they tell me to. Y'all know how I like to play, but I can't do my own thing. And that is the problem. When you go out there and you have an identity built with your players and your team, and then you call the defense away from that, what do you think your defense is going to do? They're going to try to figure out how to play within the confines of what you're calling. And again, that is a top 3 cornerback in this league, an all-pro cornerback, and even he's saying that. So that's, kind of, I think the perfect kind of fit for what we're trying to say with this defense. They just have to go out there and they have to go out and they have to just be physical and try to beat this team up. And if they're going to turn this game into the rock fight, we have to throw the bigger rocks. We have to throw the rocks first,
Yep.
And I'm sorry, if we lose being physical, so be it.
This to me is a game where I feel like Nebraska, they can line up man to man in the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
And you can let Deshaun, you can let Deshaun Singleton, you can kind of let him be a true rover. I feel like he hasn't as of late maybe it's part of with Hartzog's injury and Donovan Jones kind of stepping in, and it looks like they've slid Sire right inside to fill for Malcolm's role. I think this is a game where you can let them man up, let Sire man up on their best receiver.
Yes.
And let Deshaun Singleton truly be a rover in this defense near the line of scrimmage. Bring your safeties in. Like you said earlier, they're not a threat deep.
They shouldn't out athlete.
If they want to throw it deep, fine. We are more talented outside than they are.
Yep. They should not out athlete
all game.
They shouldn't out athlete or outspeed us. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that box should be at 8 all game. Unless they're coming out like 4 wide or trips right and you got to tighten it, whatever, right? Or they motion to back out and make it 5 out, wide receivers out. They're not going to do that though, and they're going to run it 40 times. Get 8 guys in that damn box.
But even if they do, right? Even if they do, let's say we are stacking the box and they're not able to run the ball and they come out and they run wide, make them throw you out of it. Make them have success. Stack the box. I don't care. But get guys ready to be out, but make them throw you out of that. Don't just abandon it because they're trying to call plays. Again, don't let them dictate what we're doing. So if they're like, okay, we're not running the ball, let's go 5 wide. I don't care. Stack that damn box.
Switch to a dime
and beat us with your arm then. If that's how we go down, that's how we go down. Beat us with your arm. But you are not beating us with that run game. And that's the way it's got to be.
I feel like they haven't been doing that.
Not at all.
I feel like they've been more so of we're going to stick to what, like schematically, 3-3-5. That's what we're going to do. Or sometimes they'll go 4 down. They typically have like a bigger package where they bring. I just drew a blank on his name. The German.
Oh, not Hufkin.
Yeah,
Hufkin.
They bring Hufkin in as like a big defensive end. Essentially, they'll do that from time to time, but. I feel like Nebraska has not just been, we're not going to go and let you run the ball. We're going to be a 3-3-5 defense. That's what we do. Instead of saying, look, we're playing a team that runs it 45 times a game. Let's just load the box and make them beat us with their arm.
Yep.
Should have done that last week.
Should have. But all could be forgotten if Nebraska comes out and has a really good performance this week. And
they beat the brakes off them.
Yeah.
They should.
But I don't think it's enough to beat Northwestern by a touchdown to feel good about the rest of the season. I think we have to come out. We have to make a statement in this game. So no more. We haven't got any more calls in. So what was your final prediction before we go ahead and wrap up here?
I want to say it was 34-10.
And I'll drop this in here just in case anybody else wants to call in.
34-17.
34-17.
Which probably is a shitty pick now. I mean, most of my picks have sucked this year because I drink the Kool-Aid.
Mine too.
But
Except last week we were kind of, we both predicted a close. I think you 27-24. I was 28-24.
Yeah.
And then you predicted a loss to, was it
Michigan?
Yeah.
Yeah. My like losses basically were Michigan, USC, and then a split between Minnesota and Maryland. So like, yeah. I'm pretty pissed off coming out on Tuesday or even post game, but like we're right on track. Like,
yeah, because
none of our objectives change.
Because I was 50-50 in the Michigan game. I was 50-50 with the Minnesota game all season. And the Penn State game gets easier. USC game, still hard to tell, but with how we've been playing, sorry, that's a good matchup for them. So as it sits right now, because they got a damn good quarterback in Jaden Mayava. So
the good thing is he's a turnover prone dude.
True. Yeah. And that's something about USC offenses. You know, one of the reasons why Miller Moss led the Big Ten the Big Ten in turnover worthy throws. I think the country in turnover worthy throws whenever they replaced him with Jaden Mayava, and then Jaden Mayava came in and did very similar. So I think my prediction was 30. I think it was like 34-17 or something like that, but I don't even know if it'll be that high scoring of a game. Or so
I was looking back
31-17.
Yeah, I was looking back at like play counts, and Nebraska in Big Ten play is like averaging like 55, 56 plays a game, which quite frankly is not enough. Especially when you're giving up 4, 5, 6, 7 sacks a game.
I mean, when teams are putting 17-minute drives together.
I mean, I think like a realistic, like if I had to revisit it, I would say it's like a 21-17, 24-21 type game, but I got to stick with the OG prediction, which was like 34-10 or 34-17, something like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 31-17. We'll rock with that, and let them hang. And hopefully, this will be the last time that we have to talk this negatively, because I don't like to do this. You know, I don't like to
winning.
do it. Yeah, I do too. Winning's fun.
Also, worth noting, rules 1 and 9 in games going for a 6th win at Nebraska.
We can turn a lot of things around this week. And who would have thought it would become against Northwestern? Ball team.
I know, right?
So
a good Northwestern team.
Damn good Northwestern team. So, all right. Well, I appreciate everybody tuning in. That'll do it for us here. Join us right after the game for the post-game show. We'll be here ready to wrap up, hopefully, a Husker win for y'all. And, maybe do a little bit of celebrating. That's the hope. But, let's see, 9-3. Preseason still stands. Yep. I'm still 100%. Still the 8-9 win prediction. That hasn't changed for me either. Just because I'm mad doesn't mean I stop caring. You know how it goes. So
it's relatable.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate y'all as always, and we will see y'all in the post game. Peace.